Hello and welcome everybody to the Tuesday Recipe Club. Info about Spanish omelette. So it's a dead simple one today, my friends. We're going to make Spanish omelette. You need a pan, you need some eggs. Depending on the size of your pan, if it's like a 9-inch pan, 6 eggs should be great. You need some salt and pepper. I've added some herbs. You need a nice little bit of olive oil, eggs and potato. So what I've done with these potatoes is I've cut them quite finely and then poached them for a little while, put them in some water, cold water, and let them come to a boil, turn them down with some salt, let them simmer for a while, strain them, take the lid off, and then you can let them cool down and add them to your omelette. So all you need to do with them then is to simply get them in your pan. So get your pan on nice and hot. While that's heating, crack your eggs into the bowl, and then you can add your oil. So your potatoes are just kind of ready to go in. If you want to, you can fry them off in the pan at the same time, but I don't think they're quite as good. These are fluffier. So there it is, nice hot pan. I'm putting a good dollop of olive oil in there, and I am using olive oil. It makes a big difference with Spanish omelettes. You do want to get a nice little bit of extra virgin olive oil in there. So whisk up your eggs, takes a couple of minutes. If you don't have a whisk, you can use a fork. I'm adding a little bit of oil for all kinds of reasons and flavour, and I've added salt in there as well. So now we're going to put the potatoes in the pan, and you want them sort of levelled out. So you'll see yourself when you put the potatoes in if it's enough. You might want to add more. You want your Spanish omelette to be nice and firm. Add a few extra potatoes in there. It never hurts to add a few extra potatoes. But do make sure that you've seasoned them when you're cooking them, because as we know, it's very hard to get flavour into those white carbs once they're cooked. So there we go, potatoes cooking away nicely. They've already been parboiled, so this should they only need to basically warm up in here. Now, as I said before, none of our dishes will need longer than like 8 or 9 minutes on the stove top. We know that energy is expensive right now, so we're making sure the dishes we suggest aren't going to break the bank. So those potatoes are cooking off really nicely. Now I'm going to add a little bit of thyme that's been grown in the garden. It's a really nice match with Spanish omelette. It just adds that like a lovely depth of flavour in it. So if you've got a bit of thyme growing in your garden, go for it. Right, now here's our eggs whisked up, and they're going to go in the pan. The pan is really nice and hot, so I'm going to toss the potatoes around a little bit. You want to make sure that they're all nicely covered in oil, because as you remember, oils, it's not just helpful for cooking, but it's a flavour transporter. So those oils help the flavours to stay in your mouth for longer. There's a reason why we all love fats, my friends, and that's most definitely one of them. So here we go. I'm adding a little bit of thyme into the top of it, just for that extra little bit of flavour. And this dish really is so versatile. You can have Spanish omelette, breakfast, lunch and dinner, have it on its own, serve it with lots of salads. You know, if you do salads with this, it's good to get some with different textures, a nice bit of crunch, some leafy salads, and then kind of serving this with a vinaigrette is just delicioso. So here we go. We're going to get that egg base in, nice and even amount of potatoes. I've got a little bit of extra oil there just to boost the flavour. Okay, pouring those eggs in. Now what you want to do with this is tease the liquid. So let it form its base, and then you're using a spoon to tease the liquid back, and you basically want the top of your Spanish omelette pretty much liquid free, because we suggest that you turn these over. Now you can finish these on the grill, but this is probably a cheaper way to finish them, but you do need to turn them. Bit challenging in a pan. I think this is like a 14-inch pan and it's heavy as anything. But with a 7-inch or a 12-inch pan, it'll be much easier to do. You basically pop a plate on it and toss it over. So here you can see I'm teasing the liquid out, and this gives you lovely like fluffy layers around the edge of your Spanish omelette. It's like, this smelled so good. And remember, my friends, it's just potato, egg, oil, salt and a bit of pepper, and then whacking your herbs in. You don't need anything fancy here for this to be an absolutely delicious main course. So we're cooking that through, giving it a little bit of time. If you want, like I said, you can just pop it under the grill, but you need to let your grill, if it's electric, get to the proper temperature. Because if you don't, of course, it will just dry your food out and burn it. So here I am turning this around. Hey! So when your pan is nice and hot, and if I hadn't used the crinkly side, that would have just slid off really nicely. So, like I said, you can do it under the grill, but make sure you've let your grill get to the right temperature, because if you put food in an oven or under a grill that isn't at the right temperature, it just dries the food out and then ultimately burns it. So you don't really want that. So yeah, let it get to temperature. So here we go. That's it. It's all done. I'm going to. I've turned that over a second time, so we've got a nicer finish. I've seasoned the top of it, just to make sure that you get that nice flavour the whole way through, and a little bit of oil on it as well. So perfectly cooked Spanish omelette there for you, my friends, in just like a couple of minutes. And I've got to say, the feedback from the group when we cooked this on Thursday at the Cooking Together session was phenomenal. People really loved it. And the same thing today, you know, such a simple thing. Bit of potato and a bit of egg, and then all of a sudden you've got a room full of incredibly happy women and a staff room full of happy teams, and that's what you want. So I'm finishing this off with a little bit of thyme. You can do things like put onions in here as well, but you want your onions to be really well caramelized for the flavor, and then a little bit of oil to finish. Look at that, delicious. Okay, so get to our cooking sessions on a Tuesday. There you have it, my friends. Very simple Spanish omelette. We'll be back next Tuesday. We have our Tuesday drop-in session from 10 till 12, and then cooking session and lunch at 12 until 2. So thanks to all the women who came this week. It's been a pleasure as always. Have a great week. Bye bye.